In the grand kingdom of Camelot, there lived a king named Samson. His reign was one of peace and prosperity, his halls filled with laughter, and his treasury overflowing with gold. King Samson was a good king, but he had one flaw: immense pride. He looked upon his kingdom, the sprawling cities, the lush farmlands, the mighty army, and believed it was all the work of his own hands. His heart swelled not with gratitude, but with self. He built statues of himself, his image carved in stone, a testament to his own perceived greatness. The people, in their comfort, followed his lead, forgetting the source of their blessings and instead worshiping the man who sat on the throne. They offered sacrifices not to the one true God, but to the idols of their king. Then, the whispers began. A shadow fell over the sun-drenched fields of Camelot. It started small, a rustle in the granaries, a flicker of movement in the dark corners of the city. Soon, the whispers became a deafening roar. Rats, not just a few, but a tide of them, swarming from the sewers and the shadows, a writhing, squeaking carpet of fur and teeth. They devoured the kingdom's grain, gnawed through the foundations of homes, and brought with them a sickness that crept through the streets. The people's laughter turned to cries of fear. Their feasting tables lay bare. King Samson, from his high castle, watched in horror. He commanded his armies, the same armies that had conquered foreign lands, to fight this new enemy. But swords and shields were useless against a foe so numerous, so relentless. The soldiers were overwhelmed, their polished armor no defense against the gnawing plague. Panic gripped Camelot. The king's pride began to crack. Desperate, Samson turned to his sorcerers and wise men. They chanted ancient incantations, brewed bubbling potions, and consulted the stars, but their magic was powerless. The rat plague only grew stronger, more brazen. The stench of decay filled the air. The kingdom that was once Samson's pride was now his shame, a testament to his powerlessness. His golden statues seemed to mock him, their stone faces impassive as his kingdom crumbled around them. He offered immense rewards, promising half his kingdom to anyone who could rid Camelot of the vermin. Knights, mercenaries, and charlatans from far and wide answered the call, each boasting of their unique methods. But one by one, they flew, their bravado swallowed by the endless tide of death. The king, once so sure of his own might, was brought to his knees in despair. He locked himself in his throne room, the cheers of his people replaced by the sound of scratching and squeaking that haunted his every waking moment. Camelot was dying. Just as all hope seemed lost, a boy appeared at the castle gates. He was young, no older than 12, with clear, steady eyes and a quiet confidence that seemed out of place amidst the chaos. He called himself Persia. He didn't carry a sword or a magic staff, only a simple wooden flute. He asked for an audience with the king. The royal guards, weary and desperate, laughed at him. What can a boy with a pipe do that the king's army and greatest sorcerers could not? They scoffed, but Persia's gaze was unwavering. I do not come in my own power, he said, his voice calm and clear. I come in the name of the one true God, the one you have all forgotten. His words, spoken with such certainty, unnerved the guards. With nothing left to lose, they brought the boy before the tormented King Samson. The king, haggard and humbled, looked at the small boy and saw not a fool, but a sliver of hope. What is your price, boy? Samson asked, his voice hoarse. If you can save my kingdom, I will give you anything. Persia shook his head. I ask for no gold, no land, he replied. I only ask that you and your people turn from your idols and remember the one true God who gave you this kingdom in the first place. The king, stripped of his pride, agreed. He had tried everything else. Persia walked out of the castle and into the heart of the city. He raised the simple wooden flute to his lips and began to play. It was not a magical tune, not a sorcerer's spell, but a simple, haunting melody. A song of faith, of repentance, of a call to return. As the notes drifted through the ravaged streets, a strange thing happened. The endless tide of rats paused. They lifted their heads, their beady eyes fixed on the boy. Then, as if drawn by an invisible string, they began to move. people emerged from their homes, their faces a mixture of disbelief and overwhelming relief. They had witnessed a miracle, but their ordeal was not over. That very night, as the people of Camelot was still celebrating their deliverance, a new terror arose. A fire broke out in the royal storehouse, fanned by a sudden, fierce wind. The flames leaped from building to building with terrifying speed. The city, built mostly became a major roof. The people who had just escaped one plague faced another. The fire consumed homes and shops, its hungry flames threatening to devour the entire kingdom. The king's soldiers, now acting as firefighters, were helpless against the blaze. The bucket brigades were no match for the wall of fire that the Greenstone Castle saw. It seemed Camelot was destined for ruin, saved from rats only to be consumed by fire. King Samson watched from his balcony, his heart sinking once more. He had kept his promise, ordering his stone idols to be torn down. But was this his reward? Was the wrath of God not yet satisfied? Fear and doubt began to creep back into his heart. Once again, the boy Persia appeared before the king. The smoke stung their eyes, and the roar of the fire was deafening. "The fire is not a punishment, Your Majesty," Persia shouted over the din. "It is a purification, a test of your new faith." He pointed to the sky. "The wind that fans these flames is not random. God controls the wind and the fire. Pray with me. Trust in him, not just to deliver you, but to see you through the trial." Humbled and with nothing left of his old pride, King Samson knelt on the stone balcony, the heat of the fire on his face. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he prayed. He prayed not as a king demanding aid, but as a repentant man, placing his trust in the fate of his kingdom entirely in God's hands. He confessed his pride, his foolishness, and begged for mercy. The people in the courtyard below saw their king on his knees, and they too fell to their knees and joined his prayer. A wave of prayer, sincere and desperate, rose from the heart of the burning city, a sound more powerful than the roaring flames. As their collective prayer ascended, the wind, which had been whipping the fire into a frenzy, suddenly stopped. Just like that, the air became utterly still. Then, the wind shifted. It began to blow in the opposite direction, pushing the flames back upon themselves, away from the castle and the heart of the city. The fire, which had been an unstoppable monster, was now contained, its fuel source cut off by the miraculous change. It began to burn itself out, the towering walls of flame shrinking into manageable blazes that the king's men could finally extinguish. By dawn, the fire was gone. Parts of the city were reduced to smoldering ruins, but the kingdom and its people were saved. The air was thick with the smell of smoke, but it was also filled with a profound sense of peace and gratitude. The purification was complete. King Samson stood amidst the ashes of his once perfect city, but he felt no despair. His pride had been burned away with bitterness. He looked at the boy, Persia, who stood quietly. "You have saved us twice," the king said, his voice thick with emotion. "You have taught us a lesson we will never forget." He embraced the boy, not as a king to a subject, but as a grateful man to a savior. From that day forward, King Samson ruled with humility and wisdom. The statues of himself were replaced with shelters for the homeless and artistic ones. Not just with wood and stone, but with a foundation of faith and gratitude. The story of Persia, the boy with the flute who came in the name of God, was told for generations. A timeless reminder that true strength is found not in pride and power, but in humility and faith. And King Samson, once the proudest of kings, became the wisest. For he had learned that a kingdom built on faith can withstand any plague, any fire, and any trial. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of faith and courage.